Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Loreweek. I am your host, the Lore Dude. What's up, guys? As always, as I mentioned, I like to put the show news right at the front, so anybody who's not interested in the other stuff can just click away from either the stream or the VOD. So, I got 2 bits of show news for you guys. First of all, the poll is up. Here's a link to the poll. There will be a link to the poll in the YouTube VOD. I should probably throw up the Voot graphic so people know that there is a Voot going on. A rotating... Why is he scrolling? Stop that. Make sure you vote. Now, for some information, I wanted to actually put the list of games in the straw poll information. Unfortunately, I couldn't. It's too big. So, here's the audio list of which games are which. For the old runs, or excuse me, for the 2019 runs, we have Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening on the Nintendo Switch, Bloodstained, the newer one, Super Mario Maker 2, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, Astral Chain, Greedfall, Disco Elysium, and Luigi's Mansion 3. For the older runs that have been in the queue for a while, we have, in no particular order, Warhammer Mechanicus, Super Mario Galaxy 1, Super Mario Galaxy 2, the Horizon Zero Dawn DLC, Time Spinner, Star Wars Empire at War, Battlestar Galactica Deadlock, I think, Assassin's Creed Unity, Assassin's Creed Syndicate, Duskers, Spellforce 3, Battlefleet Gothic 2, Crash Bandicoot Remake, which is right over there on the Switch, The Sexy Brutale, RimWorld, Starlink, also right over there, and Thronebreaker, oh, and also Shadow of the Tomb Raider. It's kind of a big list. All of those have been in the queue for a while, and have just kind of kept getting overwhelmed by higher priority other things. Actually, some of these games, I had some of the stuff ready to go for them, tech-wise, and then other games overtook them in the priority list, so... That's the list of games. Please vote on that. If you're not interested in either list or you don't care, please feel free to not vote. Now. No, I didn't forget Nefarious. Nefarious hasn't been in the queue as long as those games have. Next thing I want to talk about, for those of you who care, is I'm going to... Oh, I suppose I should explain what I mean by focus. Sorry, I should actually explain this. So, because Lord Harrowmont doesn't understand, the idea here is that so when I was doing the end of year gaming stuff, you know, the Decade in Memoriam stream, I noticed that quite a few of the 2019 games I couldn't comment on because I didn't play them. Because we didn't actually play a lot of new releases in 2019. We played whatever was the highest priority. That's pretty much our new policy. So, there's a bunch of 2019 games that we basically ended up skipping over as a result of that. That's why it's one of the categories. Now, you probably are asking, well, how do you focus priority on things? Well, I'm glad you asked that. You may or may not be aware of the fact that one of the options people can put when they donate things... Let me get back to you on that, Takoida, because I know what's happening there. Thank you very much, Larian. Very much obliged for the sub, as always. I was about to say, sir. Thank you. And you know the question. But if people put money towards dealer's choice, what I do is I basically bank that. And I have a whole list of donations that people have put towards my choice. And every now and again, I decide what all of this goes towards. And I'm going to be doing that basically next week, or in a few days, basically. Because right now we've got the rest of Warcraft 3 Reforged, which we're going to finish today. Then we've got... KOTOR, we're going to go through KOTOR and review that. Then we've got the Shovel Knight series, which we're going to review that. Once we're done with that, we're going to decide what we're doing next. Prior to that, I'm going to sit down and assign all of the dealer's choice donations towards whatever. This is what you are deciding. Whether I'm going to assign all those to 2019 games, or whether I'm going to assign those to games that have been in the queue for a while, pushing one group or another to the top of the queue. Make sense? So that's what that is. The other thing I want to talk about really quick is I'm going to have a slightly different approach to announcements for streams going forward. But first I want to say thank you very much, Plaka, for the sub. Very much appreciate and obliged, as always, and welcome to the Year Club. You are more than welcome, and frankly, I don't know what else to say. Thank you for supporting me for a full year. You are awesome. Thank you. Yeah, what I'm going to try to do is push through Warcraft 3 Reforged as quickly as I can, and in so doing, have time tonight to go get groceries, because I need to do laundry, too. But I really wanted to just kind of push through Warcraft 3 Reforged. Oh my god, stop giving me money! I really wanted to push through Warcraft 3 Reforged today, rather than, say, finish Warcraft 3 Reforged tomorrow, and also start KOTOR tomorrow. I wanted to just kind of make it nice and smooth. Thank you very much, Pipeliner Jin. Very much appreciate. I hate you so much. What do you want to put that towards? Thank you. So, that's the vote. Some of you may know that I bet none of you have noticed, but I have kicked MuxieBot off of Discord. Basically, I've been kind of dissatisfied with the way it works, and I've received some negative feedback about the way it works. So it's gone. It's been Thanos'd. What we're going to be doing going forward is I'm basically going to be repeating the approach that I use on Twitter on Discord. For those of you not aware, I do actually have announcements anytime we start a new stream. And what I mean by that, to be more clear, and yeah, I'm going to be doing it manually. What I mean by that is, in other words, rather than saying today, I've started a stream at 10 a.m. I've started a stream at 3 p.m. I only put out a Twitter announcement for the first time I start a new game. So, for example, tomorrow morning there will be a Twitter announcement saying we're starting KOTOR. And there will only be the one announcement for the fact that we have started KOTOR. So I'm going to start doing that on Discord, too, manually. That way it won't be spammy. People can stop ignoring the channel. And it will also... I mean, I always stream at the same times every day anyways. I think the schedule is pretty set in stone at this point. But it will also tell people what I am streaming, because MuxieBot is apparently terrible and has no idea how to do that unless you pay it money, which I don't feel like doing. I can just do it manually anyway. So, going forward, that's how we're going to be doing that with regards to both Twitter and Discord. Please unmute the stream announcement channel. I swear it won't be spammy. Okay, so that's the Voot, and that's that. Next thing, so yeah, there's no actual stream topics today. There's topics. I do have a bunch of random news to push through. Oh, and no, with regards to Warcraft 3 Reforged, that does not count as a negative for the game that I'm reviewing. So, words. Let's start with the least interesting thing. You remember that, Xehanort mobile game? Well, it's got a name. It's called Dark Road. Alright, moving on. So... I mean, I'm not saying I'm disinterested in the game, but there's no news. It's like, okay, now we know the name of the game. Okay. To my knowledge, there's no actual news about the game itself. It's just... it's called Dark Road. Woo. So I also have something other weird to share here. I suppose I should be linking these in chat, because that's how I do this thing. Where's the Dark Road? There it is. There it is. Dark Road. Link. Boop. So this is actually, speaking of Twitter links, there's going to be some kind of news today for Denny's, of all things. I was actually trying to look into this, because a few days ago, at this point... looks like about 4 days ago, they announced the Beyond Burger, and they're going to be going ahead and using, trying to introduce more. They've partnered with the Beyond Meat Company, and they're going to be trying to introduce more plant-based stuff. You're funny, Velvedrix. Why does it matter? I'm just curious what they're going to do. I have a feeling they're going to have a news thing during the Super Bowl today. Oh, speaking of which, I don't have any links for this, but for those of you who follow Gridiron, that is to say Gridiron Football, today is the Super Bowl, which, I mean, I'll go ahead and be honest, I don't care about, because their adverts have been terrible for years. But it'll be interesting to see who is blowing money on what. From a financial side, it's always interesting to see who is blowing money on the Super Bowl ads. That being said, I do have to comment on one thing. So for those of you not aware, I have several friends who live back in Kansas City. Now, if you're not understanding, if I have to keep going because you haven't been following it, there's the Kansas City Chiefs are in the Super Bowl. Now, the Kansas City Chiefs suck. Then they have for years. You know how much they suck? This is the first time they've been in the Super Bowl since longer than I've been alive. It's been 50 years since the Chiefs have actually been in the Super Bowl. So I've been very kind of distantly following this because it's actually been kind of interesting. The long and the short of it is they completely overhauled their team and blew a lot of, I forget what they're called, in order to get a certain lineup. It's kind of basically the exact same thing the 49ers did back in the 80s and 90s, if you're familiar with that. Yeah. So yeah, today's the Super Bowl, by the way. Warning for all of you who are going to be heading out. Funny little fact, so this is such a big deal in Kansas City that several stores are shutting down early and just sending their employees home. I'm talking like grocery stores are closing their doors early so that people can go home and watch the game. Because, again, the Chiefs suck. And they have for literally decades. What trailer do I want? None. I don't like trailers, which we'll get to later. Based on the timing of today, I will probably be trying to get grocery shopping done during the Super Bowl. That should be fun. Here's a lip. Oh, that's not the link. Hang on. There's the link. Sorry. Every city does that. I guess. I mean, I wouldn't know, admittedly. It's just amusing to me. But yes, 30 seconds. So someone asked what's up with the economic side of things. Super Bowl ads are some of the most expensive ads that exist. It is literally cheaper to run bus ads, which I remind you are incredibly expensive, or blimp ads than it is to run Super Bowl ads. They are very expensive. So, we'll see. When was the last time I watched Gridiron? I don't know the year, but whenever the 49ers... You remember when the 49ers were just crushing face everywhere? I referenced that earlier. The year after that, when they started sucking. That was the last year I watched Gridiron, which would have been in the 90s, by the way, somewhere in the 90s. Yeah, also, consequently, for anybody who wants delivery, keep that in mind for tonight, because delivery places are probably going to have issues doing that. 95. There you go. Last time I watched Gridiron was 95. I'm not into Gridiron, personally. I just don't... like, there are some sports I do enjoy, legitimately. Gridiron is not among that list. Now, I like football. Actually, I like football a lot. Speaking of which, go Liverpool. Just saying. Anyways, moving on. Some of you might care about this one. How many of you guys like Legend of Korra? It's a pseudo anime. I think we can call it anime. It's an anime. It's an anime that sucks. No, I'm kidding. I didn't care for it, but then again, I didn't like Avatar: The Last Airbender, so what the hell do I know? So, some of the team that worked on Legend of Korra are the team that are working on the upcoming Witcher anime. Now, I have nothing to add to this. I'm curious what you guys think of this. I can dislike great things. That's why coffee exists, Righteous Ham. This is the very early parts of announcement, Dakota. So to my knowledge, we don't actually know any specifics yet. But yes, they are coming up with a Witcher anime, in addition to Witcher Season 2. So I have no idea what it's going to be like. Hello, Ethel. Excuse me. I just thought that was interesting that they're pushing that. They apparently also made Boondocks, which is another show that I didn't like, although it was amusing. I'm curious. I'm curious how much whom is going to be involved with it, since Witcher kind of is just branching out a little bit. I could see Hamill as Vesemir, live action or animated. Preferably animated, because Mark Hamill's just a great voice actor. Kobayashi Dragon Maid Season 2. See, the only thing I think of when I think of Kobayashi is Star Trek. There's the... Nope, that's not the Voot. Hang on. I gotta keep re-grabbing the poll. Give me a second. There we go. Really? A Witcher game came out a few years ago. Huh. Moving on. This is something that I've heard a lot of screaming about. So... Pokemon Home has had details announced just a few days ago. Pokemon Home... so let's start with the thing that most people are complaining about. It's going to cost $16 a year, or $15 a year, depending which version you get, in order to get its usage. Let me start by saying, whoop-de-doo. Of all the things for people to be upset about, that is the smallest thing to be upset about for me. It's like, okay... $16 a year is not a lot of money. Moving on. This then leads us to the actual features of Pokemon Home, which is that it sucks. This, I think, is totally acceptable to be upset about. Because you'll notice, and they actually have a frickin' graphic just to showcase this, so you can transfer Pokemon from Pokemon Go to it. You can transfer from the Pokemon Bank, which is being shut down, I remind you. And you can transfer Pokemon from Pokemon Pikachu and Pokemon Eevee, but you can only transfer Pokemon out of Pokemon Home to Sword and Shield, and nothing else. That's junk. That pisses me off. One of the things I liked about Pokemon Bank, and I should have had the graphic here, hang on a second. Let's see if I can find the actual graphic of this, because Pokemon Bank was actually much, much better. Here we go. So Pokemon Bank, I actually do have the graphic right here. I'll link an image of it. Boop. You could transfer Pokemon from Black and White.
Your dedication will be rewarded.
And Black and White 2 into it. You could transfer or withdraw from X, Y, Oras, or Osaf, or whatever, the alpha remakes. You could transfer and withdraw from Sun and Moon and Ultra Sun and Moon. And using the transporter, you could transfer Pokemon from Gold, Silver, Red, Blue, and Yellow. So basically, just about everything. There's a few things that are missing from that list. But you basically had access to every generation to dump Pokemon into the Pokemon Bank and then transfer those to and from the recent Pokemons, which included all of the latest generation, X, Y, Oras, and Alpha Sapphire, as well as Sun and Moon and Ultra Sun and Moon. That was awesome, because that did the exact thing that a Pokemon Bank should do. Allow you to transfer Pokemon back and forth across generations. This Pokemon Home thing is stupid. You could transfer Pokemon to Pokemon Sword and Shield, and that's basically freaking it. And only from the frickin' mobile game. Basically, yes, Ventures, that's exactly correct. And let me go see what that donation was. I wanted to finish my sentence before I checked. Well, thank you very much, Dragonheart. Very much obliged the sub. Or, excuse me, the support, sir. Thank you very, very much. And I will put that towards never playing Halo. Or, I mean, Halo Wars. Dragonheart 1. So, I feel like I'm repeated this basic sentence several times this week, but I am also upset about this, but to a completely different extent and for completely different reasons than everyone else. Insert comment about outrage culture. We're walking. I mean, this is pretty stupid. Let's just be clear. Pokemon Home is dumb. Like, there's actually a full graphic of exactly how to transfer Pokemon around. Because what you have to do, because remember, Pokemon Bank is shutting down. So let's say you have someone from Pokemon Coliseum. So you have to purify a Pokemon from Pokemon Calcium, transfer it to one of the GBA games, like Emerald, transfer that up to Platinum, use the Platinum DS connector to transfer that to Black and White, use Black and White to transfer it to Pokemon Bank, and then transfer it from Pokemon Bank to Pokemon Home, and then transfer it over to Pokemon Sword and Shield. So right now, you can actually do that. But, yeah. Anyways. What's funny is this is what we used to do in general, for those of you who remember this. Some of you probably are fully aware of this even better than I am, but it was like you'd transfer from Gen 1 to Gen 2. Gen 2 would then be able to transfer to Gen 3, which would transfer to Gen 4, at which point you can access any of the gens that had the online thing. But you remember this, right? You used to have to transfer up generations to get your Mewtwo up to Pokemon Platinum. I used to do this myself. And yeah, link cable the Pokemon up the generations until you get up there. I don't remember, Innocence. I know there's a way to do it. I just don't remember how. Maybe it was Gen 1 to... No, it was that's right, it was Gen 3 to Gen 3 to Gen 4 to Gen 3. Sorry, I was saying it in the wrong order, my bad. Because we had to use the remakes to do that. We couldn't actually use the original Red and Blue. I actually still don't own Red and Blue, I think. No, that's not true. I own Blue, I think. It's in storage. Anyways, moving on. It's just... Yeah, there you go. There's the whole system of ridiculous transference. Speaking of Nintendo, they had the recent fiscal report for the end of year, and apparently they have flat out stated that there's no new Nintendo Switch coming out. Now, this is interesting because I'm not sure I believe them. Now, you're probably thinking, Lore, why would they lie during a fiscal report meeting? Well, first and foremost, for those of you who know, our fiscal report meetings for publicly traded companies have to be a part of public record. That's law. They cannot hide that information. So anything they say at those meetings is something that's going to buzz around on the news, right? Because people are going to be aware of it. So basically, things that people say during fiscal reports tend to be announcements. This is a fairly common practice for large companies. In short, I think what they're doing is they're trying to encourage people to keep buying Switches now rather than waiting for a Switch Pro or a new Switch to buy that. Quick question. Yeah, exactly, Dakota. How many of you, either yourself or know someone who is holding off on buying a Switch because you're waiting for a Switch Pro or they're waiting for a Switch Pro? Now, I know 3 people personally who are effectively waiting for a Switch Pro before buying one. And you can't tell me this is a small demographic. You can't tell me there isn't a decent number of people who are like, well, I'd like to have a Switch, but I'd rather wait. And there's 2 reasons, by the way, that I've heard why people are waiting. The first is the obvious reason, because they'd rather have the superior model. But the second reason, which is far more interesting to me, is the 3DS. You remember the 3DS, right? Where there was the 3DS, and then there was the 3DS XL, then there was the new 3DS, and then there was the new 3DS XL. And I think that's it? Oh no, there's also the 2DS. And I guess there's the 2DS XL. Was that a thing? God, I don't even remember. But you get my point. It's a little... The 3DS as a console was basically a little punishing on early adopters. There's a reason that I technically own 3 3DSs right now. Although, in the interest of fairness, one of those has a capture card built in, so, you know. And the other one is the one I use for streaming. But you get my point. Apparently there's a new 2DS XL too. Jeez Louise. Anyways, the point being, I know a lot of people are looking at Nintendo's business practices like, let's hold off. Let's hold off until, you know, they've come up with the latest version. Then we'll go ahead and pick it up. But yeah, no, I imagine that this is either an outright lie, or at the very best, an obfuscation of the truth to try and encourage people to buy Switches now rather than waiting. Here's my advice. Wait. I almost guarantee that there's going to be another version of the Switch at some point or another. Possibly not this year. We'll see. My Joy-Cons work fine, by the way. Just saying. Yeah, Christmas, I could see a Christmas release. Fall release, wouldn't surprise me. January 1st. We also, if you're paying attention, have not had a Nintendo Direct this year. Not really. Not an actual Nintendo Direct. So, that's something to think about, too. What else? I've only got one other thing to talk about. And that would be how BioWare is the best thing ever. It was, I suppose. So, this is a brand new announcement, so we know very little about it. But Wizards of the Coast has announced a brand new IP, a new science fiction RPG that they're pushing out, which is being headed up by James Olin and Chad Robertson, which are names that should probably sound familiar if you remember BioWare. In case you're not aware, Olin was lead designer and creative director on Baldur's Gate, Baldur's Gate 2, Neverwinter Nights, KOTOR, Dragon Age Origin, Tor, Jade Empire, Mass Effect 1, and Anthem. Yeah, it's a hell of a resume, isn't it? Now, what's interesting is Wizard of the Coast has been pushing, it even says this in the article, it's been pushing towards video games in general, since they've been throwing their weight behind Baldur's Gate 3, which still hasn't come out, Magic the Gathering Arena, which is apparently doing very well, and of course, this is the other one. Again, the important part, though, is this is a new setting, new IP. They're not actually setting this in something old. Unfortunately, this is basically brand new announcement news, so we don't really know a lot of specifics here. But I thought it was worth mentioning because this is interesting that they're going in this direction. So, woo, as they say. Even the music likes this. I probably wouldn't either, Righteous Ham. Yeah, I worked on Anthem. Wait, where are you going? So should I collect my things, or... I would be very surprised if there wasn't a PnP version of whatever this game is. Oh yeah, I suppose while we're on the moment, because this is actually right here, Mike Laidlaw has left Ubisoft, which is only news because he joined Ubisoft just last year. Or no, sorry, just a year ago, to work on a game, and then he left. You remember Gods and Monsters, the game that had so little of an announcement during E3 that we're not even sure what it's about? Yeah, he was working on that. And now he has left. What the hell is God and Monsters? Exactly! It's probably a game that may come out someday. I don't know if I'd hire a director from it, though, okay? Because the visual direction was not what I would call good. I forever associate this music with Star Trek Online now, by the way. For those of you who don't remember, this was actually the song that I played for the STO announcement trailer. The name of this song is Creation and Beyond. Now, one last thing before I chop off. That poll, which currently has 54 votes, that's going to be staying up for at least a few days. At the very least until we finish KOTOR. Possibly until, halfway through Shovel Knight. So for those of you who are watching the VOD, please, please, please voot and get your opinion in there, and then we will move forward going forward. That's actually it for Loreweek. Yes, we're just going through KOTOR 1. So, some of you are asking why I'm not doing this FF7 trailer. And those of you who are saying that did not watch my Loreweek last week. I wanted to explain this. If you guys really, really want me to cover the FF7 trailer, I will. I haven't seen it yet. I've just kind of gotten to the point where I don't want to watch trailers anymore. I actively don't want to watch trailers anymore. They either spoil plot points or they spoil moments. I'm not going to mention the specifics, but the trailer for Picard absolutely ruined a major moment of the Picard show. And the trailers for Thor Ragnarok completely ruined an excellent, otherwise excellent moment in Thor Ragnarok. Neither of them were really spoilers, but they spoiled the experience, if you know what I mean. So, I've been talking about doing this for years. I actually know a couple of friends who are very anti-trailer at this point. And at this point, I kind of want to shift away from covering trailers on the show. I kind of want to not do that anymore. Especially for something that I'm already interested in. The FF7R run is already funded. We're already playing it. The only thing that matters is when exactly we play it. So, I'd rather cover that stuff when we're playing the game. In other words, there's nothing the trailer can possibly add that will be interesting to me personally. Now, if you guys force me to, I am as ever your dancing monkey. That is my job. I actually even have it queued in the background just in case you guys force me to do this. But I have no interest in it, and I will not be doing trailers going forward. For anything. Independent of you guys forcing me to. Need a mouse pad. Actually, funnily enough, I have not seen that exact interview for exactly that reason, Dakota. And yeah, as Rax said, Square Enix has a habit of reaching a certain point. Yeah, of course, Max Time. Square Enix in particular has a habit of reaching a certain point in the marketing cycle where they just spoil the crap out of everything. You remember how scenes from what is effectively the last world of Kingdom Hearts 3 were spoiled in the trailers for Kingdom Hearts 3 right before it came out? Because I remember that. Damn it, hang on. Let me pull up the poll link. Now, you guys can discuss whatever. I'm not restricting what you guys talk about on Discord. I just kind of want to walk away from it, you know? I'm actually kind of with you on that, Hazardous. Like, 2 trailers? That is to say, a teaser and a trailer? Sure. And we talked about this last week, I do understand that there is a logic behind spoiling things, both in terms of actual plot points and moments, within trailers. It does make sense. I know that sounds horrible, but it does make sense. Because that is for people that I am not. That is for a different group than I am, a different demographic. That is trying to hook people in, to get people interested in playing or watching or paying, right? It makes sense. I don't agree with it. I don't think they have to go that route. But even if if I was to just give up and throw in the towel and say, I give up, you guys win, go ahead and spoil crap in your trailers, that just means that pretty definitively means all future trailers are not for me, except for like the initial announcement teasers. Right? I agree, Hazardous. Has the soundtrack ever made me cry? Probably. Hello, Will King. So yeah, I thank you guys for not allowing me to allow me to just walk away from this one. Like I said, I have not seen it. And I, at this point, do not intend to. We're playing FF7R. I've already pre-ordered it. You've already got my money. We're sold. The only thing in a world. The only thing that's going to be changing is when we stream it. Which, I was actually going to start up the poll for that basically now. But since we have this other poll going, I don't want to overlap polls. So, when this poll is done, we'll start up the FF7R poll, by the way. So, FYI on that. By the way, as a quick aside, anybody who has any issues or commentary on the new straw poll system, let me know. We are using a different service because the old service is broken and wrong. And literally doesn't even let me log in anymore. So, now, because I am in a little bit of a hurry, again, I actually want to push through... I want to push through the Streaminations and then the rest of Warcraft 3 Reforged in time to go get groceries today. Not that I'm aware of, Ketabo. So here's a link. Bwong. See, the problem is I don't have a way to automate that because it's always going to be a different thing for each poll. So I'm just going to keep it up and do it manually. So, chopping off the local recording.